Hi guys, Ray here, City Fan TV. Hope you're all doing very well. We're not. Bernard, first of all, how you doing, mate?
Well, I wasn't having a great day. It's not getting much better as the day has progressed, unfortunately. But yes, we have to have faith in other people, even if we haven't got faith in ourselves.
Well, who you got faith in? You haven't got faith in me, mate. Don't go relying on me, guys. We're here. I mean, we're expecting to do this video today. It's come out of the blue. Well, yes, it's come out of the blue. The severity of KdB's injury. I'm shocked. I really am. I discussed this with Bernard a few days ago, and I would never have guessed that the news, the bombshell. It is a bombshell today that KdB might be out. Is going to be out for months. That's plural. And I heard on Sky Sports, he said 3 to 4 months. And guys, I'm shocked. I really am. I was thinking maybe 4, 5, 6 weeks. You know, that's what I was hoping it was. I didn't think it was going to be just 1 or 2 weeks. I said that in the video we did a few days ago, Bernard. I was hoping it. I didn't think it was going to be 3 months or more. So I'm totally flummoxed and shocked. So what about you, Bernard? How have you taken this?
Yeah, I'm still frustrated. This hasn't been picked up and sorted back in June when we had the problems. Because I still, no one's convinced me, or certainly Pep hasn't convinced me this is something different. This is the same thing. So, I mean, he could have had this thing done now and had an op or whatever he needed or different things and be 5 or 6 weeks away from coming back. And as it is, it's not.
I do, obviously, we're not party to all the details. They're saying he might need an operation. That's serious. An operation is really, really serious. Unless, maybe KdB has balls of steel, because by the signs of it, it's obviously really, really severe. It sounds like it's a tear, a terrible tear. And that should have left him in excruciating pain. That's what made me think that it wasn't, that it was serious, but not 3-4 months serious, which is, as bad as it can get. And it looks like it's a similar injury to before. Obviously, once again, we don't know whether he should have had an operation 2 months ago. We don't know where, what the severity. Obviously, the severity of it was then was that he didn't need an operation. He needed rehabilitation, recuperation. And
I mean, he went away on holiday as normal, and he didn't have him for any special treatment or anything like that. He went away with the lads. I saw a few videos of him with fellow players. Of course, so there's nothing for him to say, well, come in here for a bit and then go and have a break afterwards. Once we've got it sorted. Obviously, the medical team were quite happy.
He's been in pre-season, hasn't he? He's been training. There was rumours that he might not be fit for the start of the season, but obviously he was. He was on the, you remind me if I'm wrong, on the bench at the Community Shield. He came on. You thought, hey, he's all right. And then obviously in the first league game of the season, I've got to say, I cannot believe that City would play him if he was injured. I cannot believe that for one moment.
We're playing Burnley first game of the season, all right. Can't underestimate Burnley. But as I say, if he wasn't quite right to start in the Community Shield, I was shocked to see him starting against Burnley.
Yeah, I was surprised. I wasn't shocked. I thought
I was shocked because I just didn't think it looked right. I mean, the way they've been talking as well, and the way on social media and the things have been said on the City site, different things, and the way he looked in training, it just didn't. I'm not. I've made mistakes in the past thinking certain things and saying he's on his way and stuff like this. But, you just can tell there's just something not quite right with KdB. The bravado from him or in and around him, if you like. And he even posted a tweet just before the Burnley game. I reposted it today. So, get all excited, ready for the season. So, in himself, he seemed obviously fine, but it wasn't, was it? It wasn't. Something wasn't right.
Okay. We're going to look at this in 2 phases. I'm going to look in the short term, and then we're going to look in the long term, because I'll mention it. Kevin De Bruyne is 32 years old. Okay, and he's not getting, obviously, any younger. He'll be 33. Well, he's 32 back in June. So you'd think he's on, I'm not going to say the decline, but he's on the downside. Okay? He's on the downside. And he might only have, I mean, you said it the other day, I think 2 good years in him. 2 good years, maybe 3 if you're lucky.
Probably 1.5 now.
Oh, don't be like that. Maybe it makes him 2.5 because he's going to have 3 or 4 months off, which is basically half the season. So it might be that helps him, his body to recover, not just his where is it? Is his hamstring, not just his hamstring, but his whole body. And maybe look at this as a reset because he's had time off before. He had time off 2 or 3 years ago. He had a couple of months off with an injury, and he's still performing at a high level. So I'm going to look at the positive. So that's my long-term view. Already mentioned. Go through some quick comments. Big Morgan says we're in trouble. No Super Kev. Ivan says get Paqueta and Mitomo. Police cheeky. Brawlsy 69. I think that's one of your followers.
Yeah, Pauline. Hello, Pauline. I get all the young ladies. Me.
All the young ladies.
Won't say what the 69 is relevant to.
How old she is? 69 years old or born in 69? No. KdB has more good years than us 3 have. Absolutely, Big Morgan. So
at least you can't take any more penalties.
Let's look at the short term. Okay, short term. Forget Sevilla. We got this big game against Newcastle at the weekend. So that's how I'm looking at the short term. How do we cope? We discussed it already. Who do you? I mean, you asked me that nasty question that reminded me that who steps up when KdB's not there is Gundogan, and reminded me that Gundogan isn't there. We are going into this Sevilla game and the Newcastle game half cooked already. We had no Johnny Stones. I think he'll be back for the weekend. We had no Ruben Diaz because of concussion, so he's not available for Sevilla. He might be back at the weekend. So that's decimated us at the back. And our attacking midfield has disappeared now. So I'm going to ask you that tough question. Who is going to play as attacking midfield now that KdB is not going to be there? Any ideas?
No, I mean, obviously the obvious ones is Foden's going to have to slip into this place and do something, isn't he? Kovacic can't afford to have a season where he's getting used to Pep's system. We're going to need Kovacic to have those. He had a couple of marauding runs, I've noticed. It's not exactly yah, but a couple of marauding runs where he didn't quite know when to release the ball. That's the problem I've noticed. He ends up running into 5 or 6 players because he hasn't quite found the guy to work with. And of course, the other thing, of course, is the link up with Haaland, which was brilliant with KdB and Haaland. We know that. At this point in time, I don't think there's anyone we can. All we can say is Stones. He could be utilised, but whether Stones is the answer, possibly not. When he's there, he can be useful, workmanlike. But is he going to produce a little bit of magic? And don't forget, we're going to lose KdB's goals as well that he can score from nothing. We can
outside the box.
You think back to that Leicester City last season. We won 1-0 with a free kick. I mean, who've we got to do that? It's a problem. No Mahrez for free kicks either.
That's 3 senior players. We've discussed this before. That's 3 senior players. No Mahrez, no Gundogan, no KdB. I'm thinking, part of me was thinking, can Kovacic play that attacking midfield role, or would you play Kovacic, as I think he was bought for, to play alongside Rodri, or to give Rodri a break now and again? So I think this Sevilla game takes on new significance because we're going to have to find a solution now.
Well, yeah, that's because you mentioned Rodri there. I mean, and Big Morgan's just said Rodri will step up with the goals, and Kovacic will certainly allow Rodri a little bit of that ability to be a bit more creative as such moving forward. We know he can score goals, but he won't be the answer. But I mean, sure, I know was Pep thinking about this before the season? Was Pep not? I mean, even Pep, was he a little bit unsure with these change of systems and messing about with it? Was he sort of preparing for the lack of KdB and thinking he might miss him? I'm hoping he did, because he might have plans that are already. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see the start of that tomorrow. See how we do. Because you can't say we're overly creative against Burnley. We got through it, of course we did, but you can't say. And people like Grealish, I mean, he's going to have to pull his weight and more, isn't he? He's got to.
I mean, I'm looking at this, okay? I'm just putting it out there. I'm looking at this and thinking, I can see, for instance, tomorrow night, okay, whoever's in goal, I mean, we're not worried about that. I can see us having 3 at the back. I can see, and that being something like Aki, Akanji, and Walker again. I can see Rico Lewis I can see Rico Lewis alongside Rodri, if Rodri plays tomorrow. But I'm also looking at the weekend. I can see potentially Rico Lewis there. I can see Kovacic being forced to play as an attacking midfielder, and I'd put Foden with him. That means Grealish. Oh, you got to decide. Okay, you could do that, or you can have Kovacic alongside Rodri. But if you have Kovacic as an attacking midfielder with Foden, do you have Bernardo on the right? Do you have Grealish on the left and Haaland down the middle? What do you do with Alvarez? Honestly, I'm flummoxed, really. But you cannot go. I can't see him going with Cole Palmer and Foden as your attacking midfield. Haaland would never get the ball if it was those two. They're reluctant to pass. So it's a messy situation. I'm going to go through some comments because, obviously that's what we do on this channel. You don't need to pay to have your comments. Chris says, hi guys, Kevin is strong. He will get through this. Yeah, he will, but will we? That's the question. I'm not bothered about it. We know he'll come back, but we've got to get through this. MCFC says, I'm not worried, KdB now. We've caught perfect before. Yeah, but before we had Mahrez, before we had a firing Cancelo, before we had Gundogan, we ain't got them now. Oh, well, look, we'll have to cope. Hi, Faris, up you well. He's giving the big up to Bernard as well. Big Margaret Folliard bought Zinedine Mason Mount. Yeah, United are going to find out that Mount is a pile of poo at the moment. I think they've wasted they've done their money. Paqueta is a must. I think we're going to end up talking about that. KdB says he's been handled horribly. Faris is not going to stop with his comments. Haaland would end up with negative 5 touches if we didn't sign anybody. And Chris is an all-time low ever since Pep came in. Okay. I think we were already short of bodies. Okay. If we've lost Gundogan, forget Guardiola, because I'm not bothered about the defense. We're looking at midfield. We've got Gundogan gone. We've got Mahrez gone. And we only had one attacking body come in, and that was our midfielder was Kovacic. I could see.
Well, McAtee was used in an attacking way as well, wasn't he, by Sheffield?
Yeah. Well, this is what I was thinking yesterday or day before. We got McAtee coming in, who's come back. We got Oscar Bob. We got Cole Palmer. But I couldn't see those three or any combination being sufficient without with losing Mahrez. We needed, I think, somebody else. If they thought Cole Palmer was the real deal, if they thought this is going to be Cole Palmer's breakout season, then I can see how they've just done that. I can see how that might be able to work. But losing KdB means you're one shot. So the Paqueta deal, Paqueta won't be 80. Trust me, if we want Paqueta, that will be a minimum of £100 million. Minimum. West Ham will pull our pants down, our proverbial pants, literally. They might come up to Manchester and actually physically do it, but literally they will do it because they know we are not dead in the water, but we are desperate. We're desperate, not so desperate as to sign Harry Maguire, Manchester United, who apparently they offered him to us. Do one. Ten Hag, you can do one, you cheating gits. Pardon my language. But at least be honest about when you're lucky, Mr. Ten Hag. We're honest when City either cheat our way to victory or something, or get lucky. We're honest and we'll open and we call it what it is. Faris, I'm not bothered about the prices. Ignore the prices. It's ridiculous. But it's up to our boys in blue, the boardroom boys, to sort that out. Why should we worry? The only effect it has on us is banter value. That's it. The banter, of buying another £100 million player. It's banter. Forget about it. But it is ridiculous that West, But having said that, we got KdB for about £55 million. 18 months after, was it 18 months after Wolfsburg paid 18 million for him, which is 6 months after, who was it? Chelsea paid about 6 or 7 or 8 million quid for him. So what's the difference with Paqueta? The difference is Paqueta's not shown the jump in his abilities since last summer, whereas KdB at Wolfsburg did show that. So I'm not fussed about the price. It annoys me and frustrates me, but it is what it is. You've got to take it on the chin. Anybody wants Cole Palmer? £60 million, please. Why can't we sell Cole Palmer with potential? Everybody's selling Joao Felix. No, is it Joao Felix? Yeah, he went for £100 million because of potential. Well, from what I've seen, Cole Palmer is delivering more than Joao Felix. So why can't Cole Palmer? Why can't we big him up and say he's a £100 million player? So Paqueta 85 is ridiculous, but I think we'll end up paying 100 because West Ham know we're desperate. Paqueta's release clause for next summer was 85 million, and I can't see West Ham allowing him to go. He's been professional about it, utterly professional about it. He's gone out and played a good game of football at the weekend. I just cannot see him going to cause any, stir up any trouble at West Ham. I just can't see it. He might do. The longer the transfer window goes on, if it's not happening, he might say, come on, guys, let me go. And I don't want him to do it in a bad way, but West Ham might force him to do it in a bad way because they want that extra 15 or 20 million quid. It's very, very concerning. Now, so I can see Paqueta coming. I can also see someone like Jeremy Doku coming. Now, he'll come at 50 million quid. I think he's a £30 million player with potential, good potential, exciting player, 30, 35 million. He'll come at 50 million. We're not going to get away from having to pay that. It's good and bad because I'll put this to you before I go to some more points, Blurred. If we get Paqueta and Jeremy Doku, how does that impact on Oscar Bob, James McAtee, Cole Palmer? How?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm struggling to believe any of those three will get the time anyway this season. So to me, they're probably not going to fit in at any stage whatsoever. Certainly McAtee, from what I've seen in pre-season, how Pep's playing in Palmer, the same how Pep's playing him despite that Wembley goal. I just don't. But Oscar Bob, we've not seen a sniff of him, have we? Since
we saw him in the
Seoul and Japan
games at the start, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We saw him there, but there's no hint that, of course, he won't play tomorrow. I can't imagine being the starting 11 tomorrow. Any of those three guys, I'll be very, very surprised unless, any. Put it this way: at least one of those three, then they've got a chance of in start tomorrow. But on the basis that none of them will start tomorrow, I don't think it'll impact on them because I think their time at City could be a bit dubious anyway.
I mean, I might look at it and say, Cole Palmer's had 2 seasons, okay, with the first team. Played about 4 or 5 games the first season in the league. I think it was 14 last season, which is very similar to Foden's first 2 seasons. Although Foden started at a younger age, he was 2 years younger than Palmer. Palmer's 21. This is his pivotal moment. This is where he makes it, or he's waved bye-bye. If I was Cole Palmer, or I'm not, okay, I'm probably going to say something stupid. I would have said, I'll stick to my guns and say I want to stay for one more season because this is his club. But this is what I would think. But he's been here 2 years already where he's looking at someone like Romeo Lavia. He's gone 1 season later. Boom! He's a £60 million player going to Chelsea. Liverpool were begging for his signature. Okay? He's looked at Jadon Sancho, for instance. He went away to Dortmund. Boom! He's a £70 million player, right? He doesn't show it at the moment. But this is what someone can do in a year. And Cole Palmer, he's been held back. There's no question about it. He's been held back at City because he can't play. The problem is, if he leaves City for 35 million, there'll be a buyback of 60 million. We can't get him back. Unless the transfer market goes continues to go crazy, and players continue to go for 100 million plus, and Cole Palmer is seen as a 80 to 100 million pound player, then we might buy him back to sell him on or whatever. But that's what worries me. I was hoping, and I think I'm going to be sadly disappointed, that the conveyor belt of talent will be coming through and they'd get a chance. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think. But the problem is, if we want to stay at the top, if we want to be challenging for the top trophies, then it's very difficult for young kids to come through at City. We have to accept that. And we can't have it, every way we want. I think the way I want it is I want to see 5 or 6, Manchester lads in that first team and 3 or 4 on the bench. That's what. But to do that, I might have to give up winning trophies for a couple of seasons. So how do you want to do it?
That's the end of Pep.
Yeah. How do you want to do it? So I think Pep, yes, he's looking at his legacy and the future and how he's going to lose City. But more important to Pep is the here and now. It's great having Cole Palmer. Has McAtee come through the City system for a long time? James McAtee? Was he United? So, yeah. I think he was he rumoured to be a United fan?
Yeah, I think McAtee. Yeah, there's a couple of them all said, but of course now they've been at City that long. They're a bit like Harry Kane with Tottenham, wasn't it? I mean, he was an Arsenal fan when he was a kid, but obviously he's been at the City that long. Arsenal that long, he turned to an Arsenal fan, of course.
McAtee's been at Man City since 2013, so he's been here 9 or 10 years. So he's been here a long time. So whether he might have been a United fan maybe years ago, but.
Palmer's from a United family, isn't he? I think.
Yeah, but Palmer's been here since he was 8 years old.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But I think his immediate family, I think, are United. But obviously, he classes himself as a City fan because that's what he can remember from being 8 years old, and that's the sort of age you start remembering things. Yeah,
Oscar Bob. Okay, he's come from Norway. He's only been here for 4 years since 2019. So 3.5, 4 years. Oscar Bob's been here. So he's slightly different, but the other two, I definitely say the other two, because they've been here so long, they're City fans. Almost through and through. Palmer's been here since 2010. That's 13 years. Since I was right, since he was 8. Since he was 8, he was born in Wythenshawe. He was a boyhood fan who joined Manchester City at under 8 level. So. To lose these guys would be gutting. It really would be gutting to lose these guys. But as I said, we might have to accept that that's the way it's going to be if we want to carry on being the top dogs, and they're not going to get through. So I might be repeating myself, but I'm gutted. I'm gutted to think, the KdB news, the feeling that we're going to have to get Paqueta. We may get. I've not heard any other names. There might be some other names floating around, but nobody's going to let us have them cheap. Nobody. Paqueta's 25. I think it'll be 20. It'll be 26 at the end of the month, Faris. I think. I wanted Mitoma, but Brighton are going to. If West Ham are going to pull our pants down on Paqueta, okay, and pants, I'm talking trousers. Brighton are going to pull our pants down and our underpants on Mitoma. They're going to get the megaest deal going because they've made about £300 million profit on sales in the last few years. Cucurella, obviously, this huge one on Caicedo. Huge! But look at what they did. They stuck to their guns. Yeah? Chelsea offered them 80 million. They said no. Because they're not in a position where they are forced to sell. And they've got an extra 35 million quid out of that. It's unbelievable. So Mitoma, he will cost us at least 100. Here's a question. Would you rather have Mitoma or Paqueta?
I know a bit more about Mitoma. I'm not overly watched on Paqueta. I mean, I like Mitoma also, but as I said, Paqueta, I'd have to see, apart from seeing videos recently, and I didn't watch Match of the Day much last year, so I didn't really get to see much of him. But Mitoma, I've seen up live and close and personal. So yeah.
Oh look, I agree with Buxton. Give Paqueta a year, it might be worth 150 million. But right now, he's not worth the brass. But it might be what we have to pay. Words, to be honest, I've not done much about him, mate. Is that the kid from Austria? I can't remember now. Or Austrian kid. It might not be in Austria anymore. Florian Wirtz. He's German. All right, I totally got this one wrong. I thought it was the
How old is he?
He's only 20, but I mean, Can you see Bayern Munich letting him go for a song? I can't, especially the way things are going. He's an attacking midfielder. All right, he's at Bayer Leverkusen. I get it wrong. Why do I think he's at Munich then? Anyway, I've got that one.
I was going to say, anyone half decent usually get picked up by Bayern Munich anyway, don't they?
Yeah, but he's still young. He only played 17 games last season, but I'm assuming he got injured because he had 29 and 24 appearances the 2 seasons before. So he started playing in the Bundesliga, I think, when he was 16, 17 years old. It must have been. So that would have been great to start playing at 16, 17. He was that was it. He's Bayer Leverkusen's youngest player at 17 years and 15 days. So he's just turned 17. So I've got to be honest, I don't know anything about him, so I can't say much. There's going to be a lot of things going on. Okay, let's talk about this. Howard Bellis, there was talk about him going to West Ham. Okay, then West Ham went for Maguire. There's problems with the Maguire deal. I think the Maguire deal will go through because it's money. It's money related between Man United and Maguire. Maguire wants out. Ten Hag has thrown him under the bus by saying, if it was him, I would stay and fight for my place. Well, how can you fight for your place when you won't play him? And then you put, you needed a central defender when Martinez you took him off yesterday, and you bring on Lindelof. So Maguire's got no chance. He knows that. That's why he's leaving. Okay, so, but I think that'll go back on. But West Ham could come to City and say, right, I tell you what, you want Paqueta, we'll take Cole Palmer, Calvin Phillips, and Howard Bellis. Howard Bellis, they were talking about 15 million. I'm saying 30 million now for Howard Bellis. But that's an option. I wouldn't be happy with it, losing 3 players like that. Calvin Phillips, yeah, please. I mean, I'll carry him. I'll carry him on my back down the M1 to London. So Calvin Phillips, he can do one. Okay, I'm not having a pot. Really.
I thought we were giving Phillips a chance this season. That's what I was getting.
I was going to give Phillips a chance, but we've got Kovacic now. We've got Kovacic. We've got Rodri. So Phillips, if we need a mate weight in the deal, Phillips is the one for me. I'd be happy to let Phillips go and Howard Bellis for somewhere in the region of 60 million quid and pay 40 million quid and get Paqueta. I'd do that deal all day long. I don't think we have 300 million to spend. We could spend 300 million if we wanted to. Let's go through these things. City have got plenty of money. I don't think it's a problem that. No, I don't think we'll spend more than look, if we spend 300 million, it hits us about, I would say, about 80 million a year in the accounts because we've got to pay the wages and we've got to pay the amortization. So that's money you've got to get. The Mahrez money only hits you once. That's the thing with the sales. They only hit you once in your accounts, whereas the purchases hit you as long as that person's there, that player's there. And so we'd have to keep doing this every year. Now, I don't think we have a problem, but we need to get rid of a couple more players. And obviously, we got the 30 million for Mahrez. We got no night for Gundogan. We got the money for Shea Charles, about 10 million. We're going to get the money for Liver, about 12 million. We've got the money for Trafford of about 17. So that's about 39, 49, about 50 million quid. Mahrez's money, 80 million. What we spent on Kovacic and Guardiola is in the region of 110 million, divided by 5, 22. So it's going to hit us at about 22 million a year, ignoring the wages because we've lost Mahrez and Gundogan. So their wages equal out. So we've got, I'm sorry, I'm rattling on quite quickly if you don't follow me, but we've got we're going to be paying 22 million a year in amortization. This year, we've comfortably got somewhere in the region of 80 million. We have to do that every year. We have to keep increasing every year to keep up with that. So money-wise, I don't think we have a problem. Cash flow-wise, it's an issue, but money-wise, we don't have a problem. Mitoma, I would take all day long over Paqueta, I agree. Also, Barella, I don't... Man, MCI fan, you're bringing up all these players that I've heard of, but some of them I've heard of, I don't know much about. Oh, yeah, Big Morgan. Look, I'm not going there. We're already annoyed about KdB. The debacle that went on last night. I'm going to mention it. It was a penalty all day long. The keeper, it should have been a penalty. Keeper should have got sent off. You cannot do that. Can you imagine a defender going for a ball and slapping a player like that? It deserves a red card. So it should have been a penalty. Should have been a red card. The United players ran into the crowd. That's a yellow card. Nothing given. Nothing given. So I'm sorry, Hooper, you were watching the game. Hooper, you had a pooper of a game, mate, because you had a clear sight of that. The VAR assistants were atrocious. They should all be booted out. I've said it's an easy solution. Get rid of the referees who know the other people around here. I said go and get some auditors in. Auditors, okay, they have no emotion. Okay, they are just straight people. They see it as black and white, and they apply the rules. So bring people in, teach them about the football rules, okay, and let them apply them. They'd have given that as a penalty last night, no problem whatsoever. They will get more of the big decisions right. They might get some of the others, where you need a little bit of knowledge to have played the game or to watch the game for a long time, or to referee the game, but they will get that big decision right. They will show no favoritism to Manchester United or Manchester City or anybody else. They would have got that right. Let's go through some quickly. Man, I'm only 3 minutes behind. Everybody seems to let Phillips go. He just wants to stay, but I don't understand why he'd stay. If he stays at City, he'll get another year of trophies, 2 or 3 trophies. I mean, he might go somewhere and never win another trophy. So to win 4 or 5, 6 trophies at City, he could win the Club World Cup, the Super Cup, and maybe the league again. He's walking away after next season with 6 trophies under his belt after having hardly played. Could it be because of his wages? Yeah, that's it. Wages guaranteed trophies. Blue Moon 09. This is time for Phil Chan. Absolutely, Phil has to step up. Cole Palmer should stay, and typically United says Douglas. Right. So that's where we are. It's a mess. It's an absolute blooming mess. I'm not going to... I'll get frustrated and angry and upset, whatever, but not with the board. Because at the end of the day, when you look over the last 10 or 12 years, despite protestations and complaints and whatever, they've not done bad for us, have they, Bernard?
No, you can't have a go at cheek and stuff like that. I mean, there's no other club run as there's some very well run. Look at Brighton, the way they go about the business, they run very, very well. But on our scale, for the size, and we're not little city, not little city. For our size of a club, there's no one better run, and that goes from the board. We make mistakes, of course we do. We make mistakes on the pitch and off the pitch, but certainly not to the extent some of these other guys are making and still making, even now at these so-called big clubs. Big
clubs, yeah. No, we've got to. You're right, Bernie. We've got to appreciate what they've done. Doesn't mean they might not make mistakes, but overall, the positives certainly outweigh the negatives. What they've done,
someone needs sacking on the medical staff. That's all I can say.
I don't know about that. I don't think we'll ever get to the bottom of it. Was KdB? Look, it happens. Sometimes players say, "Yeah, I'm all right," because they want to play, and there's nothing you can do about that. Look, I will just say, chalk it down to us being really unlucky. What I want to happen right now, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to agree with this. I want Paqueta. If they really, really value him, if they really have taken a shine to him, we will not pay over the odds unless we really, really want him. So I think he'll be a success. Or Mitoma. I'll take one of those two. And I don't mind Jeremy Doku. I think Jeremy Doku will be exciting. I think he really will be exciting. And I'd like Cole Palmer to stay. I'd like McAtee to stay. And I'd like Oscar Bob to stay. I know that's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. I want numbers. I want bodies. Because last season, we've overplayed a few players. Okay, yeah, you can argue some of it was our own fault. Some of it is our own fault for not being closer to Arsenal and for having to fight longer into the season. Okay? So we've overplayed players and we've had injuries. Take it on the chin. But still now I think Cancelo has to go because we've not. He didn't even make the squad, did he?
No.
So Cancelo has to go. Phillips has to go because or should be going, because he didn't even get on the pitch. And Rodri's knackered. Rodri's been saying he's knackered. He can't carry on playing these games. And he stayed on. So we may be losing those two, and we may be losing Emerick Laporte. So I think we'll lose potentially 2 or 3 more players. Bernardo's staying. He's signing a new contract. Walker's signing a new contract. I think the rest of it is all right. If you want to know more about what's going on now, please, guys, after you've watched this, go and watch the video I've released a little bit, about half an hour ago, probably a bit longer than that, about 10 players at City, or not at City, all of them, but 10 players who might be joining City, extending at City, or leaving City. There's a video out there. Go and watch that. And if you're new to the channel, there's 35 people watching. I should really have 35 thumbs up and new subscribers. A few of you would be nice. But I probably said too many names, but I want bodies. I want bodies this year. And I don't mind Oscar Bob and McAtee being around and hardly playing. I don't mind that at all. I don't want them to go out on loan because they're here now. They should be that conveyor belt. They should be doing what Cole Palmer's done over the last 2 seasons, doing what Phil Foden did when he came through, playing 4 or 5 games in the league, 3 or 4 games in the cup, maybe 10 games total in the season. Not a lot of minutes, but playing with that, training with the first team, learning from Pep. So I want Bob to stay. I want McAtee to stay, even if they don't feature hardly at all. I want Palmer to stay and play more games. I want Palmer to be... Look, Palmer's a 30, 40 million pound player. So why can't we have Palmer and Jeremy Doku fighting it out, duking it out, pushing each other to be brilliant? Why not? Let's go through some quick comments, and then I'll bring Bernard back into... I fancy a 2-minute Bernard rant. MCI fancies I trust in Pep. I'm sure he will do something like the last season. Kovacic was great signing and cheap. I agree. Guardiola played sometimes as midfield, but we've got enough defensive midfielders in Phillips, Kovacic, Rico Lewis. We've got Johnny Stones. We've got plenty. Competition. I agree. Iptrus, Grealish needs competition because, for me...
No, Peroni's defensive midfield, isn't he?
Yeah, we've got loads. So... For me, Grealish didn't step up enough. People liked what he did overall, but I did say this fact. Oh, sorry, opinion. My opinion. When we were playing, missing a lot of chances and not getting the results and struggling, and Grealish was missing chances, we said Grealish isn't delivering enough. When we went on a good streak of winning games, and Grealish didn't contribute much more than before, we said, oh, Grealish is doing really well. Well, people said that. I think he wasn't playing. He was playing better, but not that much better. There wasn't a huge difference between, because we were winning, people viewed that with the rose-tinted specs. Hey, Grealish is the man. I don't agree with that. But he has to step up. He needs competition. So I'd love Doku, Grealish, duking it out there. Alvarez on the right with Bernardo, Foden, fighting it out. Cole Palmer, having more players there. Because can you imagine if we get, let's say we get Paqueta, and we let the kids go, 2 kids go. Can you imagine another 2 injuries? It's like, I'm going to give you an analogy at playing cricket. I think what Jeffrey Boycott said, let's say you might be looking good, you might be 300 for 3, add 2 wickets on, because in 2 balls you can lose 2 wickets. You're 300 for 5. Have that in your mind. Your score is good, but you lose 2 wickets. Your score it's still good, but not as good. And it's the same. We might have a cracking squad, a bit thin, but tight. Lose 2 players, you're knackered. And right now we can ill afford. Let's say, for argument's sake, it was unlucky. Phil Foden had an injury last season, didn't he? He was out for a few weeks. Then he got appendicitis. He was out for, 3 weeks or something. So he must have missed about 7 weeks of the season or whatever it was last season. And that came out of the blue. And he's a young guy, 23 now, isn't he? He's a young guy. So something could happen to somebody else. And that could KdB's come out of the blue. We weren't expecting that. So if Foden got injured again and he was out for 2 months, someone could, let's hope it doesn't happen. Do the ACL, tear their Achilles, whatever, might be out for 3, 6, 9 months. What do you do then? On a thin squad, you start crying. That's it. So, I mean, I'll give you the floor, Bernard. I'll give you the floor since I'm ranting away. It's your turn. How worried are you now about?
I'm not worried. I'm not worried yet. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. I've also got a guy called Alvarez who I think has been underutilized still. I'm hoping Pep can get more out of Alvarez this season. We know he's a world-class player to walk into any team. At the moment, I don't think we utilise him as well as we should be utilising him. And as far as Foden's concerned, yeah, he can do the business. But injuries are going to happen, whatever happens. I'm like you. I thought when Oscar Bob got those early games, and he looked quite compact, he looked quite good. In fact, he looked better than Palmer to me initially on that tour of Asia. And of course, he's gone off a cliff since then. We've not really seen much of him since that. But yeah, I mean, as long as things stay tight, as long as we don't get any other silly injuries adding to what we've got now, all right. Presumably Stones is okay. He's on the plane. He looks as though he might be all right. We know Jazz is just a temporary thing because he can come back after 7 days. So it's not a big problem. Defensively, we're fine, as you say. That's not the problem. It's creating the goals. If we didn't look overly... We did all right against Burnley. Don't get me wrong. Burnley were a very compact team. We found a way through them 3 times. But they have just come up from the Championship. So they're not on a par with the top half of what the Premiership would be, I don't think. They're a good organised unit. I mean, we've got Newcastle this week. So, I mean, the next two games, I think Pep's going to use this game tomorrow. He wants to win it, of course he does. But I think he's going to try something tomorrow.
He has to, no choice.
And it gives the ideal opportunity to do that. And I'm quite happy because... Pep will take this on the chin, and he'll come up with something else, and the guys will have to invest in it and work on it and take it in their minds to do whatever Pep tells them to do. And if Bernardo's asked to, all right, it's poorly tomorrow, isn't it? So that's a shame that
Bernardo's out.
Sorry,
Bernardo's out tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's not on the plane. I don't think.
Right, I'm trying to remember who.
He's a bit poorly. Something. Yeah. It's not an injury. He's just poorly. So hopefully we're back for the weekend. So that's a shame. But these players here, like Alvarez, as I said, I think he's underutilized. That's only because Pep's using him in the system he's playing. So
he'll have to change your system.
Yeah, that's it. And I say we'll miss Kev. Of course, we'll miss Kevin. But it'll start, as you said, if another 1 or 2 drop. Yes, I'll start panicking. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow night because I'm not going to stress out. If we get beat, we get beat. I just want to see what Pep does.
Right now, when you look at those forward, let's call them 6 players. Okay, ignore Rodri because in DM it's 5 players actually. We've got 4 at the back and Rodri. That's 5 because Rodri we've got Phillips, we've got. Peroni possibly, but let's not worry about that yet. Look, if we lost Rodri, I would be worried. Okay, but look at the other 5 spots. We've got Grealish, Haaland, Alvarez, Kovacic, Bernardo, Foden. So we've got 6 there for 5 spots. We've not even mentioned Sergio Gomez, who can play maybe further up the pitch, as we saw the under-20. Was it on the 20s World Cup or on the 21 Euros? Sorry. So that's one option. The other option is going to be, and then you got the kids. It's too thin for me. I can't think of any other attackers that we've got. I'm trying to remember everybody else, but you could even, if you're desperate, and I don't think we're ever going to be this desperate, play Cancelo up the pitch. I don't think we're going to be that desperate. But that's the concern. You've got 6 players for 5 spots. If you lose anybody else, then you're going into a more defensive mode. You might end up playing a 4-2-3-1 system, which is very defensive. And hey, maybe that's what we might have to do. And I see it, and I'm going to ask you about this as well. How late into the transfer window are we going to go and not let these kids go? And the longer it goes, will you get more worried if we don't bring people in?
I think this KdB thing, I don't think it's affecting any of our plans for this transfer window. I think we know who we want to stay and who we want to keep, and I think we made that decision. I don't think he's going to panic over certain things. Of course, we were hinting at Paqueta and Doku before KdB got injured, weren't we? It was, it wasn't all of a sudden, oh God, KdB's not there.
But that pushes him closer and makes us pay more.
So I mean, at the end of the day, if these lads were going, these kids were going, the Oscar Bobs were going. I think they sort of be planned now. I'm a bit surprised, So I don't see anything there. I think they're here to stay for the season.
Part of me, but here's the thing: if we sell them, we can't recall them from loan. So if we send somebody out on loan but leave it towards the end of the window, we might have a deal with somebody and say, well, you can have Bob, okay, Oscar Bob, but we're going to send him to you right at the end of the window because we're worried about injuries and stuff. It's not great for the team that wants him, but also they might be desperate for him and they might accept it because hey, it's our player. Now
it's not just us that might get desperate. There's a lot of other teams getting desperate as well, isn't there?
Yeah. Look, we've got obviously Newcastle, Sevilla tomorrow, Newcastle on Saturday. We've got 8 days off, which is great. Before we play Sheffield United. That's, if I'm right, is our last game before the shop window closes. And we've got to beat Sheffield United because our following 4 games in the league are Fulham at home, West Ham away, Nottingham Forest at home, Wolves away. We get to October and we play Arsenal away. We need to be in touching distance.
Yeah, I mean, we've got an easy start, haven't we? All right, Newcastle could be tricky this week now, even trickier. But yeah, I mean, we did that last season though. We should have really been leading that table early doors, and we cocked up in 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, let's go through some points. So Douglas says enough leadership to allow you to play, but you can't play 3 your kids. You can play 1 or 2. Yeah. Pushing it 2.
You can get away with. All right, Lewis, you could probably count as almost a main man now with his abilities and what Pep asked him to do.
For a start, I don't think you can
probably get away with Palmer on the wing for a game, but if you've got people like KdB on the pitch, etc., that's fine. But you're sort of pushing it a little bit when you haven't got certain players on the pitch.
Put it this way: I don't think you can play Cole Palmer, Oscar Bob, and McAsey in the same side. You're asking to get beat.
You struggle. We'll be out of a cup. We played them 3 in a cup. We'll probably go out.
Yeah. Nick Saunders says, sell Cancelo, keep everyone else, plus Paqueta and Doku, we will be okay. MCI fan says, the good thing is Foden will have more time to play. I like him so much, and in the match versus Burnley, he was amazing, absolutely. KdB was no surprise, should have had an operation after final. But, Paul, we didn't know he needed an operation. Now, they would have known. I don't think they'd have taken the risk. If they knew he needed an operation, they'd have done it. He'd have been out for maybe 3 months. That's done. Okay, you missed the first month of the season. I don't think they take the risk. At the moment, I'm erring on the side of we were just unlucky. Nick says, I was expecting that injury to KdB rushed him back. Why did we not look after him more in the summer off? Should have been in rehab, not just partying. I don't know if he was partying that bad. Next 2 games will be certainly not. Oh, absolutely. If we don't win the next 2 games, we know it's going to be a tough all season and a struggle. We missed out on 1 trophy and we're already behind in another. Ortega, Walker, Guardiola, Laporte, Gomez, Phillips, Rodri, Foden, Palmer, Harlan, Grealish. I won't play them tomorrow. Edison, not Ortega. Bernardo, I bet he's having talks with. No way, no way. He's signing a new contract. I told you that 3 weeks ago. He's signing an extension. I told you that 10 or 12 days ago.
He's thought, KdB's injured, I'm off.
No, he's signing a new deal. If he leaves,
you'll see. Pep won't leave me alone now if KdB's not there. I'm not staying here to be harassed by Pep.
If Bernardo leaves now, you'll see grown men cry. Now, look, if City aren't as good as we once were, we'll still love them, won't we, Bernard?
I love it. Yeah, anyone. I mean, we've done the treble, mate. I say I've seen it now. What? So what? It's if it's a slippery slope back to Division 2, hey, so be it.
I have a limit, and that's the limit. I don't think that's going to happen. We ain't no Leicester City. We're not going to be like Everton fighting against relegation. Whatever happens going forwards, we're going to be a strong.
I just can't wait to have that financial vlog with Colin about how we're going to cope now. We're not the Champions League anymore.
Yeah, we're doing a financial video on Thursday. We're going to record that, so hopefully that'll go out Friday. Probably will go out Friday. In Friday morning, I think is the time. I'll stick that out because I'm working Friday. I'm actually working Friday morning, but over on the Wirral. So I've got to drive through Liverpool. So I'm gonna
put your scarves in your window. Put your scarf. Wear your shirt. You'll be fine.
No, I can't take any risks, mate. I can't. I'm working, so I've got to get all my work stuff with me. I can't afford any hassle. Gomez, what's this? Lewis played good versus Burnley. Had some errors, but look, Lewis needs more game time. He'll get it.
Lewis is a worker. He's not overly creative. He's just, he's not. I mean, obviously Bernardo's a worker and creative, which is fantastic. Lewis at the moment, Pep's asking him to do the donkey work, a lot of donkey work, as he is a little bit with Stones, but Stones has got a bit more creativity about him as well. So there's lots of irons in the fire for Pep and what he's doing, I think.
Yeah, guys, if you are new to the channel, there's a lot of people. There's been up to 40 people watching at once, which is fantastic. Please subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. And you're watching this on, this is a double bubble production with City Fan TV and Bernard's channel. So Bernard, why don't you tell folks about what you do on your channel?
Oh, everything, mate. Everything. New stuff, old stuff, you know me. A lot of history, guys. You know that. If you're new to the channel, I do a lot of history stuff, but I like to do the present stuff as well because I know sod all about football, but I like, tactics, but I like to look at it psychologically. And you see, I've got an old brain, so I try and look at things from that angle and entertain. That's the most thing we can do, guys, isn't it? Entertain. If you're not entertaining, no one will watch you. So I'll do my best. So yeah, and Ray has me on his little thing to irritate everyone as well. So what more can we ask?
Yeah. Yeah, no. Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. A lot of old stuff. A lot of good old history. And I think I mentioned this the other day. I think to you, Bernard, we were chatting. I said it's important because lots of channels, if you're chasing basically money on a channel, you're not going to be that interested in making videos on historical stuff because sadly a lot of young people, the newer fans, let's be honest, a lot of them are driving YouTube content and not that interested in historic stuff. So who's going to do it? So in the past we had stuff on City Fan TV.
And we learn from history. We learn from history and put it into modern day anyway. So it's all useful, and to look back and compare what happened then with what's happening now.
Yeah, so it is useful. I think it's important to know your history, and that's why I think what you do, Bernard, is invaluable. It's a shame more people don't do it. And they've got the time, but it doesn't make the money. So it's a sad thing. Here's a good question. As we are going to start to wind down because I've got to drive down to London. Chelmsford I'm driving down to tonight, and I haven't done my packing. I've got to go to drop a parcel off. Got a lot of 2 hours work to do, and I'm supposed to be gone at 7. We're about coming up to 5 to 7. Here you go, Bernard. If you can buy 3 players in this market, realistic.
Well, I've none then because there's none. They're all pie in the sky. Well, I want like Kalash.
No, here we go. If we could spend 250 million quid, who would you buy?
They'd all be attacking options, wouldn't they? I mean, like you, I like Matomo. Well, I do like Matomo. I think he'll give us something a little bit different to what we've got on that. We just don't have that at the moment. What he can supply us, but I'm sure what people are saying with the Doku's of this world. But they're too young. We need someone who can step in. And the last 2 years of Pep help him win these, go out in a blast of glory. We really need.
Doku's 21, so he's same age as Cole Palmer. The difference is he's played a lot more than Cole Palmer. I mean, Cole Palmer. Actually, they were bought they're about a month difference in age or something.
Yeah.
But Cole Palmer, see, in top flight football, he's played 19 league games. He's played 40 games in total, I think, for City. 40 games in total. Whereas Doku has played a lot more. You might say he wasn't always a first team starter last season, but Doku's at a similar age. I think they're 21 days difference in age. Doku's younger than Palmer by 21 days. Okay. But Doku has played 128 games. Now you might say, well, he's played 37 games, or he played, in the Belgian Pro League. Who were they? But in Ligue 1, he's managed to play plenty of games for Stade Rennes. Ron, call it what you will wish. But he's played 74 games in the league for them. 91 games in total. So he's got a lot more games under his belt. He's got 128 games under his belt, whereas Palmer's got, as I said, about 40-ish. So, but give us 3 players then, Bernard. 3 players that you'd get.
I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I mean, obviously, when I look at the other teams, what they've bought, no, I've not gone, wow, I wish we'd have got him.
Yeah.
None of the teams. And, you talk about the stupid ones like Mbappe and stuff like this. I mean, they're just pie in the sky. Wouldn't even look at that. They're not thinking, but of what's there, what is the...
I'm going to give you 4 names then.
How can you replace KdB, for instance? How can you bring someone in to do anything like what he does?
I'm going to give you 4 names.
Go on.
Okay, one is pie in the sky. Paqueta, Mitoma, Doku.
Yeah, I thought apart from ones we discussed today, I mean, Paqueta, based on what I've heard. Krashvili thing, he's another one that's
never. Him, but I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see it. We'll be quoted 150 million. If we in this window got Mitoma, got Paqueta, because I'm only saying Paqueta, not because I think it's incredible. I think it's because they really want him. And we got Doku. If we got those 3 and let Cancelo go, let Laporte go, I'd be happy. I would be happy if we can get 30 million for Cancelo. It's a bit low, and 40 million for Laporte. Okay, we spent 250 million and only got 70 million back. But with all the sales and transfers and everything else, would have got 150 million quid's worth of sales.
I wouldn't mind a happy and a guy who obviously didn't want to be at ours, didn't want to be at our place. I wouldn't mind someone who was happy with his own mind and happy Leroy Sané. I wouldn't mind one of them, but I'm glad he went because he didn't want to stay with us and he's never going to come back. But just something about him, Pep, I think it was a match made in heaven, and it unfortunately didn't last very long, did it?
Last few points, because I've got about 6% battery left on my laptop. I thought 30 minutes, I've got to go. And it always is like this. So, do you honestly miss electric football we played around 1819? Yes, I do. I'd sacrifice trophy. No.
I'd rather grind out a victory in a Champions League than have attractive football and get beat in the semis.
Yeah. Football from the likes of Grealish is a bit slow and backwards. Yeah. Miss traditional. I love the wingers. That's why I've said I would have preferred Foden on the left and us to get a new right winger.
I want a bit of pace. I want a bit of pace in the team. I don't know where it's coming from, but I want a bit more pace in the team.
Oh, look, we are boring at times, Iptros. Look, when we were 2-0 up against Burnley, we just killed the game. And from a winning the league point of view, that's the right thing to do. But from watching that last 45 minutes point of view, it was hard work. On the one hand, I don't want the opposition to score because that makes it more exciting, but it's not great for your heart. But I would like a bit more excitement in my football. And if you've got people like Leroy Sané on the wing or Krashvili, I don't think in the 80th minute, if we're 3-0 up, they're just going to say, hey, we're 3-0 up. Let's not bother. Let's pass it backwards. No, they'll still be trying to score. MCI fancies, I prefer to be boring and win a treble. I agree. What's this song?
Yeah, Vinicius Junior's an interesting one, isn't he? If he obviously was available.
Yeah. The thing is, we don't... Which song? Rigobert song?
Does he mean Son?
Maybe Son.
Son had his day now. I think Son's had his day now, guys.
It's exciting. Well, we can't get them.
We might re-energise him. That's the thing.
Yeah.
If he came to us
2 years ago, I said I would have liked Odegaard. Last season, I said I would have loved Odegaard.
I'll tell you what, if you want to go to Son and get him off Mr. Levy, then good luck with that one.
And Vinicius. So the problem is Abertoirville. We can't get any of them. I don't believe. I can't think we can get any of them. Yeah. So that's the problem. The crack was 90. I don't know what 90 means. Thanks, chaps. MCI fan. Also, I don't think we have exciting.
Functional. We can be functional at times. Not boring. Just good. It depends what you think football is. Football. If a team's defensive, it can just be as good football as if you're an attacking force. I mean, football overall, if it's pleasing to the eye, and you know. So I'm not even going to use the word boring. It's functional, and we do what we have to do and win games, and we still score some great goals.
Yeah. Yep, guys, and we are winding down. I'm going to say thank you, everybody, for your support. And I keep thinking it's going to slow down, and it does slow down. But I think, you know, even today we've got about 40 new subscribers today, so that's great. It will slow. It is slowing down because you can't keep going at a phenomenal pace. You know, we've been going at about 100 subscribers a day for a while. Yes, it does help when sometimes when you put 4, 5, 6 videos out in one day. But that also means that for the rest of your day, you're not doing much else. You know, there was a day last week where we spent between 4 and 5 hours recording videos for City Fan TV, and then we recorded it, and then I had to edit. It's not just hey, you record and just chuck it out. You edit and add stuff, take stuff. So you know those 4 hours of videos got of recording plus another 8 or 9 hours of editing and uploading and everything else. You've done about 15 hours. Yes, you've got 6 videos out, but it's taken a long time. So we'll keep trying to get stuff out for you. But obviously, you know, life is life because neither of us make our living from doing YouTube videos and talking about football. Yes, it would be nice if we could. It sometimes has to take a back step. You know, I think both of us do as much as we can squeeze out in the time we've got. But hey, if you see my dysfunctional family, you know I can't keep doing it. You know, my 2 teenage kids, you know, you can't just leave them saying, "Hey, I'm going to go and do some, you know, spend 3 hours doing some recording and editing. Go and play on the, you know, on your computers." I can't have that. Gotta have some sort of family life. And hey, you know, we're old fellas. We're not young, and we've got responsibilities. Hey, we've got responsibilities, and we try and make sure we do our job. So last couple of points, and then I'll Bernard have the final say. We want Gunnar KdB replacement midfield. Yes, we would like them, but where are they? And how much are they? Pep makes the games to win them. Absolutely. We just want to see some dynamism on the wings. Well done. Cheers, guys. Bernard, let you have the final say. Okay. KdB's out injured. What's going to happen over the next 3 months? Are we going to get a level of play that we want, that we need? Are we going to drop off? How's it going to work? You got a minute.
Well, everyone will be chuffed to mint balls away from City, won't they? They'll be thinking, "No, KdB's not there." But this is the KdB. A lot of them slag off, isn't it? On social media, say he's not as good as such and such, and he's not doing that. I think we'll be fine. I think we've got to enjoy it with the treble winners. We're at our peak. Let's stay at our peak a bit longer. It'd be interesting to see what Pep usually does is adapt. And as I say, all right, I wasn't blown away by the Burnley game. I'll admit it. I wasn't blown away by our performance. But I think with players hopefully still to come in and players still learning Pep's way, I think, yeah, why not? We'll get through it. Before we know it, KdB will be back in training. He'll be back playing for us. And we'll be competing on all 3-4 fronts, however many it is. So, hey, that's what it's like being a City fan. Just let's be confident, and we have confidence in Pep and the board and in ourselves, all the fans together, guys.
Well said, Bernard. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this live stream. Try and do a few more live streams going forwards. Obviously, work, Bernard's work, my work, timing and stuff like the game against Newcastle. Can't go. You know, you think 8 o'clock on a Saturday, what have you got to do? But I'm actually up near Newcastle working that day. Finish about. I won't get away till I think 5 o'clock at the earliest. Give myself 2 hours to get home. I don't think I have enough time. I'd have to get home, chuck all my stuff out of the car, and I literally chuck it out and get going again. I'm trying. I haven't put my ticket up for sale yet. I'm trying to work out how late I can I manage it. Do I leg it there and turn up at half time? I'm half tempted to do that, but can I do that after driving 2 hours up to Newcastle, doing a show, and driving 2 hours back, emptying the car because my kids won't be here? That usually helps me. One of the kids will help me to empty the car, but I'm going to try, guys, just for you. Well, not actually for me. I'm going to try and go to the Newcastle game and get some videos after the game to share with you guys. So we will do a live stream. Oh, there you go.
Good luck with after the game, mate. It'll be about 11 o'clock at night, won't it, by the time it finishes?
One good thing is you say 8 o'clock start, but the bad thing is it's going to be a 10:30 finish. I don't know where I'm going to park because by the time I get there, there'll be no parking anywhere. So I might have to park in central Manchester or wherever and walk out. Oh, I'm not going to get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. Thankfully, I've got Sunday off. So anybody who's looking for me to do some last-minute work on Sunday, I ain't doing it. Because I need a rest. Bernard, thank you, buddy. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. And as Bernard says, give us a thumbs up. We'll see you round Blues. Take it easy.